The stool was the loneliest place Harry had ever stood, and he had stood in a great many lonely places. Hundreds of faces turned up toward him in the candlelight, soft and expectant, and Harry understood at once that they were not looking at him. They were looking at the scar, at the story they'd been told about the scar, at a boy who had died 11 years ago in everything but the technical sense and been replaced in their imaginations by a hero. He had learned long before tonight that when people looked at you that way, with that hunger, they wanted something. The cupboard under the stairs had taught him to notice what people wanted. It was the only thing the Dursleys had ever given him worth keeping. Professor McGonagall lowered the hat onto his head, and the brim swallowed the hull. "Well, well," said a small voice, close as his own pulse. "Difficult. Very difficult." Harry did not answer. He had decided, somewhere between the boat across the lake and the foot of the stairs, that he would give this place nothing it had not earned. He simply waited, the way he had waited out so many of Uncle Vernon's rages, still, attentive, gathering. "Plenty of courage, I see," the hat went on, almost to itself. "And a mind, oh, a good mind, a patient one. Talent, yes. And a thirst. There's a thirst in here that frightens me a little, if a hat can be frightened." "Then you've been paying attention," Harry thought, and felt the hat go very quiet. It had expected the other thing, he could tell. It had expected the trembling and the "please, anywhere but there," the small, clean fear of a child who still believed the labels grown-ups put on houses. The hat had a script, and the boys who sat under it were meant to read their lines. Harry had read a great many lines in his life to keep the peace. He was tired of it. "You could be great, you know," the hat said, gentler now, almost coaxing. "It's all here in your head, and the house that would make you great. Well, you're afraid of it, surely. Everyone is." "No," Harry thought. "No? I'm not afraid of it." He let the thought sit there, cold and flat, so the hat could read it down to the bottom. "I've lived 10 years with people who wanted me small. I had a cupboard, I had a list of chores and a key that locked from the outside, and the whole time everyone who saw the bruises decided it was kinder to look away." He felt the hat flinch against this, the way the neighbors had flinched, the way teachers had flinched. "So don't tell me about the houses everyone's afraid of. I already know exactly what the good people of the world will allow to happen to a child, as long as they get to keep feeling good. I'm done being something that gets allowed to happen." The hat was silent for a long moment. The hall murmured below, restless. "Slytherin would teach you to make sure it never happens to you again," it admitted at last, reluctant, as if confessing a sin. "Cunning, self-preservation, the art of being the one who decides. But Harry, they would also teach you to do it to others. That is the danger of the place. It does not make wicked children. It removes the reasons a clever child has for staying kind." Good, Harry thought. I'm out of reasons. And he meant it so completely, so quietly, that the hat had nothing left to argue with. You cannot frighten a boy with the dark when he has already decided the dark is the only honest room in the house. "You'll do terrible things," the hat said softly. It was not a warning anymore. It was a forecast. "I'll do necessary things," Harry corrected, "and I'll be the one who decides which is which. That's the whole point, isn't it? That's the thing nobody's ever let me be." The hat sighed, a strange sensation, a hat sighing on your skull, and Harry understood that he had won. He had not begged, he had not bargained, he had simply refused to be afraid of the truest part of himself, and the oldest magic in the room had blinked first. "Then I'm sorry," it said. For everyone but you. Slytherin! The word cracked across the great hall like a slate breaking, and for one heartbeat, there was no sound at all. Harry lifted the hat from his head and set it neatly on the stool, and in that silence, he let himself look, really look, out across the 4 long tables, and he read them the way he had learned to read a room that might turn on him. He found the faces he had already catalogued on the train and in the boats, the pale boy, Malfoy, openly astonished and then slowly delighted, as though a wonderful and dangerous toy had just been handed to him. The red-haired family down the Gryffindor table, the youngest one, Ron, staring with his mouth open and something curdling in his expression. Betrayal, Harry thought, though we've known each other an hour and I've promised him nothing. That was instructive. They had all decided who he was supposed to be before he'd said a single true word to any of them. Up at the high table, the old man in the half-moon spectacles had stopped smiling. That was the face Harry watched longest. Dumbledore, he knew the name, everyone knew the name, was looking at him with a careful, sorrowful attention, the look of a man rereading a letter and finding a word he was certain he'd written differently. He thinks something has gone wrong, Harry realized, and filed it away with the cold pleasure he was already learning to recognize in himself. He thinks the story has slipped its rails. He has no idea the story was never his. Harry walked to the Slytherin table. The applause, when it finally came, was thin and uncertain, and entirely from one side of the room, and Harry counted it the way a shopkeeper counts a till. Who clapped late, who watched to see what the others would do before deciding their own face. An audience told you everything, if you bothered to read it, and almost no one ever bothered. He did not mind that the welcome was cold. He had never been applauded for the things he actually was. He sat down among the green and silver, and a girl with a heavy, watchful face slid along the bench to make room, studying him the way you study weather. "They're all staring," she murmured. "Let them," Harry said. "They've been staring my whole life. It's the first time I've decided what they're looking at." Far above, the enchanted ceiling showed a clear, cold sky, and the stars over the great hall were very bright and very far away, and entirely indifferent to what was about to be done beneath them. Harry looked up at them and felt, for the first time he could remember, something he might almost have called peace. Not warmth, nothing so soft as that, but the flat quiet of a man who has stopped pretending to be anyone. Somewhere out past the edge of the world, a ruined thing that had once been a man stirred in the dark and did not yet know that the most useful weapon it would ever hold had just been sorted into its own house and was already patiently learning how to lift it.